Welcome back to State of the Union. I'm Jim Acosta. Breaking news this morning that Joe Biden had a secret meeting with Elizabeth Warren as he considers a run for the White House. Could the two be joining forces? I want to bring in our panel. Neera Tanden, president of the Center for American Progress, CNN political contributor Kevin Madden, CNN contributor Bakari Sellers, and CNN political contributor S.E. Cupp. You guys are all our contributors this morning. Thank you very much for
working hard for the money.
Appreciate it. My goodness. I'm glad I got that out. Bakari, I guess let me start with you first. I mean, I guess I was just explaining during the break that they veered from the official schedule for the White House, for the vice president. He was supposed to be in Delaware all weekend, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's in Washington meeting with Elizabeth Warren.
Well, I mean, I think that there is something that we can glean from that visit. I think the first thing is that Joe Biden is running for president of the United States. I don't think that's a secret any longer. But Elizabeth Warren does have her thumb on the pulse of the progressive movement, the space that Bernie Sanders is occupying. And I think that Vice President Biden also knows that the only path to beat Hillary Clinton is to the left of her. I'm just not sure there's that much space over there any longer. But the fact of the matter is, look, Joe Biden has served his country admirably for 40 years. And if anybody's earned the right to run for president of the United States, it's Joe Biden. So my hat's off to him.
And Neera, are the Clinton forces worried about this? Biden, Warren?
I mean, so many people have worked for Vice President Biden. He is held in huge esteem in the party. And so I think, and Elizabeth Warren, I think Bakari's right. Elizabeth Warren has spoken for a lot of people in the party who are worried about special interests and the power of Wall Street. So I don't think there's like a fear factor or anything. I think the real issue here is that it's an open primary and the vice president has as much of a right to run as anyone else.
But Kevin, it certainly got their attention. I mean, this was,
Sure.
I don't want to call it a shot across the bow, but it was near the bow. It was getting close to the bow.
Right, but you know, I always think that the concept of a Joe Biden candidacy is so much more alluring than the reality. He's a gaffe machine. He's been doing this since like 1986. He doesn't really have a natural solidified base. So I think it's entirely right now a reaction to Hillary Clinton's stumbles on the campaign trail and the rise of Bernie Sanders and people worrying that that's going to hurt the profile of the party when it comes to a general election. So, but you know, Joe Biden gets in. I expect that Hillary Clinton would probably relish the chance to sort of boost up her candidacy by being able to finally beat somebody that they may see as more as a better candidate.
And, and when I talked to a prominent some sources in the
Yeah.
Democratic Party this week, they were saying there's not a core constituency for Joe Biden in the
Right.
White House. They are
well, the
worried,
White
they're
House
worried
doesn't
inside
want
the
it.
White House
Yeah.
about Joe Biden running because they're concerned that there goes the Obama legacy.
Well, yeah, and Obama doesn't want to have to choose between his current sitting vice president and his former Secretary of State. That just doesn't look good. I also don't know that I get his strategy if it's what Bakari is saying, run to the left of Hillary. He's not going to out Sanders.
Right.
I actually think the better strategy for him would be to speak to the Democratic voter that party has been losing for the past couple of cycles, the older, white, blue-collar male
Reagan
that actually
Democrats.
Joe Biden really speaks to very well, the guy from Scranton.
Yeah.
So I think if he gets in, and I would welcome his entrance into the race, I think that's the direction he should go.